Hi students, in this video lesson we will talk about traveling and holidays. This topic is one of the most interesting topics in any foreign language learning. That's why in this lesson we decided to show you some basic vocabulary to speak about this topic, and in the second part we will teach you how to write a mail about your perfect holiday to your friend. Let's start from the basic vocabulary. So in this part, I tried to choose 4 basic words. Those are really confusing for students to use. So they are trip, journey, tourism, and travel. So trip, first word. So it is short holiday or time away, can also be used to refer to journey. But journey itself has more general meaning comparing to trip. So journey means to travel from a place to B one. So next word is tourism. So students always confuse to use this word because students think tourism is a synonym of journey or travel, but it's not. So tourism, it is the industry business providing some accommodation, transport, and other means of industries. So next word is travel. So travel is the most general word among these 4 words. So travel, it is uncountable noun and it means traveling from A place to B place. So next slide. On the screen you can see some types of traveling, so called holiday forms. So I tried to choose the most common type of travelings. So let's see them, some of them precisely because time is limited. So first word is sightseeing. Sightseeing, it is the activity of visiting interesting places, especially by people on holiday. So for example, as a lawyer in the future, maybe you become an international lawyer. So in the future you have to travel a lot. So when you do business trip, actually you will do some sightseeing activities too. So if you go to Paris, you want to see Eiffel Tower. Or if you go to London, you want to watch Big Ben. So, or if you go to Rome, you want to see Colosseum. So these kind of activities you do we call sightseeing. Next one is business trip. So business trip, it is a journey taken for business purposes. So in the future, as a lawyer, I think you will do this type of traveling a lot. Next one is beach tour. So this is one of the luxurious type of traveling. So people usually go to the beach to swim, relax, and sunbathe. Next one is camping. Camping is also popular among youth, especially among students, because students like to spend their time with their group mates in the nature. So camping itself means the act of staying and sleeping in an outside area for one day or more days, usually in a tent. Next one is package holiday. So package holiday fits for families because it is very convenient. It means a holiday at a fixed price in which the travel company arranges you some hotels, transport, and other things to travel abroad. So next one is backpacking trip. This trip is also very popular because it is the cheapest way among other travel types. So what does it mean? So backpacking trip, the activity of traveling while carrying your clothes and other necessary things in your backpack, usually not spending very much money and time, also sometimes staying in a place that are not expensive. So on the next slide, you can see some activities we usually do when we travel. So we call this slide what people do on holiday. So in your materials, those are designed by our department, you can find some exercises regarding to use some verbs properly when you travel. So they are stand, buy, take, commute, park, and others. But I am pretty sure you can use these words because they are very easy to remember. That's why on this slide I tried to focus on not only verbs but phrasal verbs. So let's see some of them. Time is limited, so that's why 3 of them are enough to speak in details. But if you want, of course, having watched this video, you can just do research on this vocabulary. So let's start from set off. Set off means to start a journey. Let's see in an example. We set off for Paris just after 10. So next word is take off. Take off, this phrasal verb has more than one meaning. So from our childhood, we know in our English lessons the meaning of this word. Its dominant meaning means to take off some item of clothes. For example, it can be hat or jacket. But when in terms of traveling, it means to departure or to leave the ground by plane. So next word is get on. Get on, get off. So I think you should know these words because when we travel, we actually use some means of transport. So what does get on mean? Get on mean it is to enter a bus, train, or other means of transport to climb on board. So that's all about phrasal verbs. So on the next slide, you can see some disadvantages of holiday. So we call this part holiday nightmares. So as a coin has 2 sides, traveling is not always fun. So when we travel, we face some difficulties and problems. Here the list. So they are jet lag, culture shock, tasteless food, homesickness, bad weather, health problem, pickpocketing. Sometimes you can be the victim of any type of crimes. So that's why when you travel, you should keep your things in safe. So the last one is traffic jam. So let's see some of them precisely. The first one is jet lag. Jet lag, the feeling of tiredness and confusion that people experience after making a long journey by plane to place where the time is different from the place they left. So when you travel from Tashkent to Paris, it takes 7 hours. So these 2 countries have different time zones. So when you travel, you feel overexhausted. So this feeling, we call it jet lag. Let's see this word in an example. Every time I fly to the United States, I get really bad jet lag. So next word is culture shock. So culture shock, it is a feeling of confusion felt by someone visiting a country or place that they don't know. For example, when you go to China, so they have got totally different culture. Their way of living, the way of clothing, so their eating habits is also different from ours because they eat spicy food. if you spend some days there, maybe for 10 days, then you start feel culture shock. So you want to come back your country, home country, and maybe you can feel homesickness. So all these negative feelings can be included so in this type of feeling like culture shock. So let's see this word, this phrase in an example. It was a real culture shock to find herself in London after living on a small island. So this is end of our first part. Let's start second part. So in this part, we will talk about how to write email about your perfect holiday to your friend. So emails are usually aren't as formal as letters. They still need to be professional, so to present a good image of you. That's why students, you should learn advised structure to write it. So the structure in any English writing it's the same. You should start with introduction, then continue with body, and you should close your writing with conclusion. So in email writing, we call it opening part, body part, and closing part. In opening part, you should write some greeting words like hi, hello, how are you? So you are writing to your friend, that's why you should feel free. So in the next part, so body part, you should show your purpose of writing. Maybe it's interesting for you, your friend's education, or maybe your friend are on holiday and you want to know about this vacation. So you can ask your questions, or you can give information about your trip in this part. So in closing part, I advise you, but I don't, but it's advised by professionals to write some expressions. So you should finish your closing part by wishing them well, and you should close with your name and signature. This is the structure of how to write email to your friend. So here the sample. It's written by Kate to her best friend Helen. So you can compare this sample, the structure I've just explained it. So here you can see, hi Helen, and this is so body part, and so closing part is closing with happy holidays, Mike. So I hope today's lesson will be helpful for you to speak about traveling and to write as well as. So it was all I wanted to speak about. Thank you for watching this video. See you soon.